little Rexona. That's not a name, that's a suggestion.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I'm hiding behind the flowers at the moment. Hello. I noticed a comment a few days ago, I think it was from a bloke, one of the blokes out there. You were asking about the flowers in the background. These are Ashura specials. They are a white rose and a red and yellow daffodil. And what makes them so special and why they have lasted so long is that they are silk.
Sniffing them for 2 days trying to get some smell. They look real, don't they?
They do, they're lovely, but truthfully, as I was going through the video reading about Ashura, and she's the goddess of vegetation and all the rest of that, I thought, hello! The only things that survive around me are silk plants, and that would have to be a trait that's inherited by some of my daughters out there who I know, like Karen, the horticulturist, and those who just have a way with flowers. Yeah, what an interesting week. It has flown by, hasn't it? We're at Friday.
Yes, it is.
Friday night, the 17th of March.
It wasn't that interesting.
What?
The week.
The week. Oh, all right. I thought it was. What were you doing?
What did you think it was?
Well, just, again, it's all about the new guys coming in, the new ladies and the blokes out there. With
Well, I suppose we have dispelled the myth of Moses as being us full
oh,
of shit.
yeah, actually, yeah.
Actually, you can look it up on the internet. There's a lot of people written books about it. When we was in Egypt, the Arabs had no idea who Moses was.
Yeah, actually, because we went to Luxor to go to
Supposed to be there for 400 years.
You know, and you know, Moses is supposed to be either bathing the bulrushes and all the rest of it on the River Nile at Luxor. And so I say to the guys, you know, home of Moses, and he just looked at me and like, oh yeah, right, okay. But what he did point out to us in...
Well, we talked to historians who really know what's going on around the pyramids, and they don't know nothing about it.
Right, but what about, we were at the temple in Luxor when we started talking about you.
Yeah, that's
the guide was fixated on you, going, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He said that you looked like the picture that was carved into...
yeah, he showed it to us.
Yes, in the stone of one of the rooms. Was it the prayer room?
Yeah.
I think it was the prayer room, but anyway, he said, that's who you look like. He was fixated on you. So we told him, well, he was the Christ. And he had no problem believing it at all. So...
He also spoke about the obelisks, and what his theory was, is that the top of the obelisk, where the point comes together, that was the sea level during the flood. That was what what it represented as being at the top of the pyramid, represented by the obelisk, because the pyramid is much higher, of course. And he's quite right. The average height of all of the earth, if you was to take all the mountains and level them out and fill in all the valleys, it comes up to the same height as the pyramid, 454.5 feet. And then the flood was above that, by the height of the Rajit Capstone. So that's what the top of the obelisk represented.
Yes, but the obelisk itself is not regarded as anything phallic in Egypt. As a matter of fact, it's part of the creation, almost like the forcing up the mountains, breaking through the crust, and it's got nothing to do with it. Again, it's a certain cult that turns everything
now,
sick.
I went to Washington. What a cowardly place that is. Dreadful. I had a feeling there that I'd make me sick.
What year was this?
That would have been 1991. And it was... Anyhow, I go and have a look at the huge obelisk that they got there. And the facts are, it's 555 feet high. So the word Christ is found 555 times in 522 verses of the Bible. But it's 111 feet underground for the foundations. Makes it 666. What do you mean? If you go to England, I think it's the House of Lords, they've got 666 seats.
And of course in...
Solomon, 660.
Right, in the King James,
Didn't know that, did you?
they weren't written as numbers, were they?
No.
The numbers were written as words, not
Absolutely. Oh,
digits.
yeah, all of the ancient buildings throughout time, they were based on whoever the king was at the time, and his name would be converted to gematria, and then be the height of the wall, or the length of the building, or something like that. All ancient gematria. Now, I was instrumental in reviving that once the internet, I got my hands on that, I just let it out there, right? And there is a move today by the Jews to ban gematria.
Because it's one of the weapons that
That's
God uses.
Oh, dear, mate. Whether it be English, Hebrew or Greek, I got them covered with that.
Now, what was accomplished today is the mailing
Yep.
of the cloths.
Now, we're going to keep that secret, though. We're not going to tell anybody we mailed it.
No, that's right. I'm sorry.
Because the Jews might stop them, right? Too late.
Gone. Anyway, all good. Now, faith. Talk about faith.
Faith in what?
A couple of you have written in Read the Cloths that you want to heal other people who really don't believe that there's any cures for anything out there. And I did write back and say, listen, faith applies. It was the reaching out, it was the woman who reached out for the hem of his garment, and he said to her, your faith has healed you. And it was the faith of King Akbar. He wrote to him and said, come please. And it is still a matter of faith.
There's 3 verses in the Bible where the virtue poured out, and a woman, for example, reached out in amongst the crowd and touched the hem of the garment. Now, you can't look at it from any other point of view as being a parable in that sense, because Jesus, as Jesus, wasn't wandering around the countryside without being brushed against by people. Right? But it was the faith of the woman that reached out and touched the hem of the garment that made her heal. And she had 12 years issue of blood, in other words, menstruation. Right? 12 years, continuous. And she was healed. So there you go, it's all a matter of faith.
And there's also another verse, don't cast your pearls before swine. These are treasures, and they're for you. You and those who are with you, who are believers. So I've said as much to a couple of you. And yeah, so.
Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn.
All right.
You're either one of us or you ain't. I don't care one way or the other.
The comments going back now for a few days, because it was Monday since our last FaceTime upload, and so I'll start from the most recent. And Pamela, she watched the short CO2 video. She said when CO2 is added to water, it makes carbonic acid. The carbonic acid may lose protons to form bicarbonate HC03 minus, and carbonate CO3 In this case, the proton is liberated to the water, decreasing the pH of the water. So be careful to check pH before consuming the carbonated water. pH balance drops can be used to increase pH. Well, that's, I just responded, we always add just a pinch of bicarbonate of soda, brings the alkalinity, which is your pH level, up above into the 8s and 9s, and depending how much you put in there, it can makes it nicely alkaline, and you will always taste the difference between an alkaline water and something that is more acidic as a liquid, because alkaline water really quenches the thirst, whereas something that is more on the acid side doesn't quench the thirst. And then you drink it and you want more. So, yes, she's absolutely right, and thank you for that. Now, Michelle Lee, from a day ago, you're somebody new, and you say, please help my son, Lord. His spirit is broken. Don't know anything about you, but his spirit is broken. Then does he know about Yah? Does he know that the Comforter is here? And the issues of life have broken him. It's the broken-hearted that Yah is here for, and myself. Both of us are here for the broken-hearted, so tell him to rejoice. And Dorian, you're in there, darling, you're saying bravo, healthy living, etc. Now, where did all these...
Yeah, they're one of the most intelligent animals is an octopus.
Really? Tell me.
Well, there's an area in Sydney, it's called Woolloomooloo. That's actually a name of it, Woolloomooloo.
Yeah.
And it's right on the harbour. And there's a pub there. And it's a very happy place. People get out here and get pissed and play, listen to the bands and so forth. And it wasn't too long ago that this octopus come up one of the piers and then slid it in through the kitchen and up onto the bar. And it grabbed one of the beers that someone had been drinking. It started drinking a beer.
Yeah, go on. I just, you know, Jesus Christ.
And, well, he liked the beer, right? So the next couple of days he comes back again. And up on another beer.
Yeah.
He loves it. Right? So, a guy had a mouth organ. And he had it on the bar. And the octopus drank the beer and seen the mouth organ and picked it up and started playing.
Yes.
Huh? Oh, yeah. So this becomes a sensation, right? So, the octopus had all the beer he wanted, come back any night and you can play the mouth organ. Right? But there was also a piano there. And the octopus slid along the bar, sipping the beers as he goes along, and he gets to this piano and he starts playing like Liberace. He could play anything. Right? Call out the name. Beethoven's Fifth, no worries, let's see how we're playing away. So it became so popular that people were just crowding into the place. And one night there was an offer of £1,000 for anyone who could come in with an instrument that the octopus couldn't play. Well, all comers come with all sorts of instruments, trumpets and, you know, bassoons and things like that. No worries, he played it. No? Pissed out of his tree. I should say pissed out of the sea. Cut from the sea, right? So one night the Scotsman come in and he's got a bagpipe. So he sat that down and he said, all right, laddie, give me £1,000, right? This octopus will not be able to play a bloody bagpipe. Extremely difficult play. So the octopus playing on the piano, so looks over his shoulder and sees this. And next thing he's sliding along, he's knocking glasses out the way and he gets to this bloody thing and he grabs it and he's peering around. They said, see, you can't play it. And the barman said, as soon as he figures out it's not another female octopus, he'll play it. What's funny about that? It's a true story. Yeah. Go ahead, you're doing wrong.
Oh. I'm just, the internet here is really slow tonight. I can't open the comments page, and so I've just got the notifications with the summary down the side. Anyway, Cheryl, you'll be awake. Hopefully you've got some sleep by the time you see this one. But Cheryl wrote a couple of hours ago, is Donald Trump doing anything about meeting with the Pope?
No.
It doesn't seem like he is doing what you've asked him to do. Of course, nobody ever does. Am I just...
It's a rejection prophecy.
Am I just worrying too much? Please tell me one way or the other. It's 4:12 a.m. So is it Cheryl, please?
No. Have a little sleep and start worrying again tomorrow.
Thank you for your worrying and your concern. But no, of course, nobody's going to do anything that Yah suggests. I mean, he's speaking to an
rejection prophecy.
Empty out there in the world of politicos.
All these people are doing and making a complete ass of themselves because Trump could have ended all of the woes of the world by making an announcement. Yes. Christ is back. I went and seen Pope Benedict, and yes, he verified it.
Yeah. So, and it's the same with Francis, the Antichrist.
Do the numbers. Like, watch one video. That's all we're going to do. No.
It's Francis, the Antichrist, could have ended the horror of everything.
Yeah, Francis.
4 years ago.
The Jew.
So it's all on his head, absolutely. And then all of those politicos that have since. Now, of course, we've been watching Viktor Orban. He gives us great joy because he received our package from June last year.
He's doing what we told him.
And he is doing exactly what Yah told him. And Yah explained all about it. And he's keeping Hungary locked up He's not accepting any immigration. So he's doing what Yah told. And Victor Orban went over to visit Trump. So, because we told Victor Orban, well, Trump's Yah's guy. So, you know, did they have a conversation about Yah in Australia? Who knows? We don't know, because it's
no one tells me
really isn't empty out there. And okay, so I'm just.
We have doctors here that have examined me and flat out say I should be dead. Right? Now, one doctor, he said that because of my heart condition, having half a heart, being poisoned in Egypt, he said you shouldn't be able to walk from one side of the room to the other.
Where you were sitting halfway through the room to the wall.
So we went and told him everything, and what, like, why on Christ and how they've been trying to kill me. They've tried to kill me with cyanide. He goes on and on and on, had all the numbers, spirits and all the Bible. And he told us that, no, it can't be true, because he had a dream.
Oh, yes.
While he was studying in Nigeria, in Black as acid pain.
Yeah, well, it was his Bible.
He went to sleep with his Bible on his chest, and that's it. I said, you mean to tell me? No, you can correct me in a minute.
Yeah,
I said, you mean to tell me you know more than the Pope? He said, yes.
No, this dude, and he was out here when this happened, in Australia. He falls asleep after, you know, consuming the book that everybody's trapped in. And he's on his chest like that. And in his dream, he kind of broke up through into what he knew to be like the throne room. And he described it as green, like an emerald green. Well, that all goes back to Ireland, etc. But anyway, he went into the throne room and he said it was empty, and he's one like being turned up, and he says, where are everybody? And he says, well, they're not here. Hello? We just told him that the Christ is on the earth and you're talking to him. And then he says, I don't believe you unless you can walk through the wall. And the other
I said, I did. It's called a door. I shouldn't be able to walk at all, as far as they're concerned.
Oh, dear. But anyway, so these are all of these doctors.
Not the stupid Jew that tried to kill me in Canada with cyanide, right? When he come back, it was in a small van, trailer, caravan type thing, and it was February in winter time, and he'd come from the Forensic Institute where I'd been locked up for 40 days and finally got out there to give up. And he said to me he wanted some red salmon for supper. So I was going over to see my ex-wife at the time, on a Tuesday. And right next to where she was living was a small supermarket, and of course I got a memory to memorise everybody, right? So it's in a small town, and I walked in, it was all new people, and the customers, new people, but they were all big men, taller than me. I'm a big fella, right? They were big men. So I went and got the red salmon, 3 cans of it. I walked up to the cashier, and there's 2 great big RCMP in plain clothes. If you ever see an RCMP office, they're all made in the same factory. They all look exactly the same. Right? So they walk up and they're behind me. There's one guy about 6'6" or so, and I'm sort of looking over there, right, set up there. So I put the 3 cans together on the counter, and the woman picked one up, and she had myopia, so she'd looked at it real closely, because of close vision, myopia is close vision. And she looked at one, looked at the next one, looked at the next one. Then she said the most astounding thing. These aren't the ones you want. Like, picture you going into a supermarket, what do the cashiers do? Take what you got, flick it through the laser, and out you go. You pay the money and you're gone. But no, she doesn't do that. She said, I'll get the ones you want. So she then takes off, and I'm watching her, and there's 2 coppers standing behind me. I'm watching them walk up 3 or 4 aisles away and down. She's gone for a few minutes. She comes back and she says, these are the ones you want. So I was $2.50 or $3.50 each. So I paid the money, go get in the car, drive back, and this Jew, who was supposed to be a professor, psychology, so forth, he's waiting for me. So when I get out the car and bring him in, he said, "Did you get the salmon?" I said, "Yes." So he picks it up and he does the same thing right up close. He's also got bloody myopia. Right? I thought that's strange. He said, this is the one I want. He said, why do I open it? So I'll go and have a shower. I said, all right. So he gets his towel and off he goes in the shower block, 100 feet away or so. And I open up the salmon and I start eating it, right? And then there's a vial in there and it looks like a little bone. So I start munching on that and all of a sudden there's cyanide. Right? So I open this little capsule of cyanide in the meat. So this has been prepared with cyanide in it. So I said, oh, munching away. And it gives off a smell like almonds. And the cyanide ran down, burned my lower, out my lip and down up to my jaw. So then this guy comes back and he looks in the window and he sees me still munching on this salmon. And he opens the door and he jumps back because he can now smell the cyanide. So he says, I left my towel. And he's got it on his shoulder. So then he races off and a half hour later leaves the door open to air out in the middle of winter. And I thought, yeah, this is set up. So he comes back and he's sniffing about, a typical Jew, big nose, sniffing about, looks in the thing and says, oh, I've eaten all the damn thing, right? And he says, you're Christ. I said, where the fuck do you think I was? Right? Like I've been telling the world over there for years. Right? So from that point onwards, it was sort of taken back, shocked. But then, after he sort of got over his strange encounter with Christ, right, he says, but us Jews are going to run the world. And I said, number one, you ain't Jews. Number two, you ain't going to run the world. Right? You're a nation. He said, what do you mean we're not Jews? I said, well, the true Jews come down through Ireland, down through Scotland, down into Cornwall, and that's where Jesus' parents come from, or mother came from, and grandmother, right? Over to fulfill the prophecies of Isaiah. And that's the people in the area weren't Jews in the first place. You're Idumeans. Well, he couldn't answer. He's arguing. I said, now just a second. You just called me Christ, which is God, right? Yeah. And you're arguing with me. So you've got no chance in the world of you Jews taking over. But. I said, no buts about it. That's it. That's one of the stories of the strange things I've had to endure. Now, you think that would be front page news if you went down to the newspaper? Who knew? No one wants to know. Why? Because the whole Christian world are Jewish. It's Jewish influence. The Moses myth, the bullshit, the Exodus, it's all crap. You've got your men who tell the truth, which were men like Isaiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, and they're the prophets. They're correct. Right? They were of the true tribe of Judah, which were Essenes. They originate up through England and Scotland and Ireland. That's where these people come from. So, the Jews, they come in through Sodom, down through the Edomites, the Hittites, the Moabites, the Ammonites, and then they flew up the Edomites, up into the lower part of western Jerusalem, and that's where the little black people, they were quite black and small. So if you read the letters by Pontius Pilate or Caiaphas, Caiaphas was a man who was responsible for ordering the crucifixion because I had committed blasphemy by healing people. That's
on the Sabbath.
On the Sabbath. Well, I am the bloody Sabbath, and he'll tell a lie. So he wrote a letter after the what his story is that Jesus appeared to him in a locked room after the resurrection, and he said he could melt through the floor. Now these are actual letters that do exist. There's one set copy, I think it was in Constantinople, which Muhammad got hold of, and because the Muslims did take Constantinople, and that's what convinced Muhammad that Jesus was of the Virgin and the Father was the Holy Ghost, which was the Comforter, which was God himself. So another letter is a letter by Pontius Pilate. He was beside himself trying to stop the crucifixion from happening. He loved Jesus. And he would talk for a long time. At first he said, his spies out to see what this Jesus character is like, because he's
what his teachings were.
That's right. And he realised that this was the Messiah.
And that his teachings were friendly toward Rome. There was no threat.
No threat to Rome at all. The threat was towards the Babylonians who had the Sanhedrin. Now the letter that was written by Caiaphas, he wrote to the Babylonians Sanhedrin. So there was a branch of the Sanhedrin representatives in Jerusalem at the time. But it goes way back, it's all Babylonian. And of course they were the ones that in more modern times, 800 AD, that went into Caesarea and convinced these cutthroat serpent worshippers, phallic worshippers, that they should become Jews. And they had 3 religions to choose from at the time. So one was the Muslims, of course, the other one was the Christianity, and the other one were the Jews. Well, the Jews was the more one that was secrecy and usury and blood sacrifice. And that suited him better because the people were already savages. So they are the people that are actually trying to take over the Middle East today. And any report will see that the DNA, which we can do today, it's quite easy, can trace them back, all these Jews, that they are the Jews, and they're not. It's actually a scripture as well. Now the reason as Jesus I said that is because they weren't Jews then either.
No. They call themselves Jews.
You're father the devil, right? You're not Jews.
So it's the same old. The same MO.
So little by little we sort of encroach upon the insanity of the world, and people like this lady who was so worried, and her son or daughter is having difficulties dealing with the earth. Well, I'm here as a comforter to tell you, don't worry about it. I'm here to fix everything. And so it'll take a little bit of time, but it's a lot closer today than it was, say, 30 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
10 years ago. 5 years ago.
What we say to all of you is, please just get on with your lives. Get on doing whatever you need to do to, occupy your time, to make a life for yourself and your families, and leave all of the stress of what's going on around you. Leave that behind. The Essene Revelation talks about how...
One day closer every day.
Yes. And the Essene Revelation talks about how this darkness will pass away. And there was somebody who asked about, I think it was you, Doreen, you picked up about the 2 darkest hours in history. Well, of course, was the crucifixion. And when Yahweh was reborn in January...
Can't get any darker than that.
1944, of course, towards the last year of World War II, where gross darkness covered the earth. Just think about the slaughter, the evil, the darkness that covered the earth. And then, after the war, well, it was World War I, wasn't it? You had, after the war, you had the Spanish flu. It was all deliberate.
100 million.
So the darkness of that day, so you had the crucifixion when it was really dark, and actually it was Pontius Pilate who described what that day was like. Oh my God, he described the howling of hell. The people went mad. Some of you are noticing today the madness of people, the insanity in this day, especially...
Look at this bullshit around Trump.
Yes, and this when they reject the news that you tell them, but the Comforter is here and they reject, and some of you have been noticing the total insanity and madness of people. Well, Pontius Pilate described the day of the crucifixion, and it was like all the hounds of hell had been released, calling for the crucifixion on that day, and then he described what it was like when it was over. Just people had spent themselves in their insanity, their hatred and their madness, and then you had the opposite side of the coin where those who loved Jesus were just exhausted with the emotion and tension of the sadness of what went on. And then... Well,
the crowd sang out, release Barabbas, and that means release the son of Daddy.
Yes.
So they had a Barabbas in jail.
It was all set up. It was all set up.
It's all set up. And my nickname was Son of Abba. Son of God.
Bar-Abba. Bar-Abba. So Bar-Abba. They wanted him released, but it was all set up.
It's all set up.
And of course,
that's why we stood there saying nothing, right?
Yes.
Because it had to happen. That's why it was an age of 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 days it had to occur. And that would occur on the exact moment that it did. It was 3:16 in the afternoon of the death. That all lines up with the planets. I showed you that, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, why was that so? Well, you multiply by pi, because the whole universe is based on
Time
pi.
witness.
And that gives you the number 387766 something or other. And that is the distance from the South Pole to the maternity ward where I was born.
Yes. So you've been learning your lessons well.
3877.66 miles.
So everything had to occur at the precise moment in time. The crucifixion had to go on. But
I'll tell you why there's no aliens. If you could see an alien spaceship coming from Alpha Centauri or somewhere, billions of light years away, that would get you. These are intelligent, right? They get here and say, "Look at these dopey bastards, they got God on the cell. He's there." And they're not taking no notice. We better get out of here, right? Because he might get pissed off and turn us into a pillar of salt. There's no aliens. It's all bullshit.
We've always said,
it's only
if
like
they were, they'd take one look and say, well, there's no intelligent life there, and he's speaking to an empty, let's out of here. Anyway, let's move on, because Rez is asking, hi Rez, wearing your shirt, darling. He loves it. Okay, Ashley, thank you for your new videos. Can you please comment and let me know what you think about a Christian doing yoga or meditation? Is it satanic? Can you ask Yah what he thinks, please? Well, next question. Listen, Rez, if you're doing it because you need to calm down, get off, then do it. But think about Yah's teachings as you do it. I mean, people go on about, emptying their minds and so
I'll go get a drink.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about this, because Yah really has no idea. Seriously, folks. His mind is so logical and is always filled with his work. But I will tell you, because I know where you're coming from, look, just focus and meditate on Yah's works. Just relax, deep breaths, whatever, go to a quiet place and meditate quietly on what Yah is showing you. Or a beautiful painting or something like that. And there is some truth to emptying your mind completely, because there are entities that do try to, they're the zillions of other voices that try to influence you away from Yah. So, meditate on Yah's work in a, lotus position or whatever. Frankly, he doesn't give a damn. I know where you're coming from. And just, focus on his works. Right, so we'll move right along there. Going down.
I'll tell you, I'm not sending this shirt back, even though...
Alright. Sarah, you said, Sarah T, thanks John. You said, as usual, this is last night's video, the first part of about Asherah and Yahweh. As usual, this all rings true to me. It seems natural and balanced. Of course, that's what it's all about. That a holy male would be partnered with a holy female. Denying that is typical of Lucifer, the grossly demoralizing and unbalanced. Yes, you do go on to say, I can't open up the comment because of the comments page not opening. It's not cooperating. But I know, yes, it's all about the balance. Of course, I mean, Lucifer, the soul of female, the soul of Lucifer is female.
Did I say about the octopus and Woolloomooloo?
Yes, you did. No. Lucifer, the soul of it is female, and it craves the worship of all of you. This is why it lifts itself up above the Most High, because it craves, Yah did almost, I have to tell you about the story of Clay Feet. This man who is, it's all sad. But anyway, he started kissing Yah's feet. Diana Christine, you'll remember this in your place in Nimbin. And Clay Feet, who is mentally ill because of what has been injected into him over the years. They grabbed him, his father had him committed, because years before he even met Yahweh, years before, he was talking about Yahweh being the name of the Creator, etc. So he talked about it so much that his parents had him committed, and it was there, he chemical lobotomized, all kinds of things, so he came out and he is quite...
He's 35 years old.
At the time. He's much older now. But anyway, so this guy, he meets Yahweh, the real deal, because Diana Christine told him. It was all coincidental. But he starts kissing Yahweh's feet. I tell you what, Yah almost hurled him across the other side of the room, like, don't do that.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, but he didn't say anything. He just, But
He tends to exaggerate. I've got to learn to lie now and then. I didn't do a thing. He just got down, kissing me feet.
What is this restraining himself? But anyway, so Yah wants
I don't want to be worshipped at all.
He wants the respect of who he is, and he wants the world to cooperate with him as the wonderful counselor.
Just do as you're bloody told, that's what I'm saying.
That's what it's all about. So, sincerity, yes, it's all about the balance of this male and female.
Just clean the Jews out, and that's a big start.
Yes. Now,
Was it 69 vaccinations babies get in America? And they're now bringing in a law that all adults have to have 10 vaccinations.
Look,
What do you think of that?
I have to mention this because there's some of you who have been following other people and all the rest of it, and you have been very influenced by a Luciferian doctrine of example. Just bring it up because it's a good example. Yah re-uploaded the Grant from Christmas 2015 when he was staying here. Grant is a classic example of a Luciferian. As a matter of fact, when the day...
Here's a little story about Grant.
Yeah.
I've known him for 20 years. And he's gone from a mildly religious man to a fanatic. He went in and got involved with the Scientology, which believes in aliens and they want your money every time you walk in the door. And then he got into a book written by a Jewish psychiatrist called... A
Course in Miracles.
Course in Miracles.
Female Jew psychiatrist equals devil.
Now, his woman, let's call it wife, they live together now, they met in Brazil when they'd gone on independently, but met there, to be with an Iranian who was a sort of a self-proclaimed Messiah. And they had an affair. And then they get together back in France. And then she comes out. In the meantime, while he's waiting for her to come out, he goes to another, same Iranian guy, to a place called Uluru, which is the Ayers Rock in Australia. Right? And I gave him a GPS. And he said, oh, I don't know how to use that. And I said, well, just press that button and everything start. It'll do everything for you. Right? So when he gets over there, and he comes back, and I said, did you use the GPS? He says, no, I didn't know how to use it. I said, all you had to do was give it to an Aboriginal kid to have it working for you in 2 seconds. Child. But the thing started by itself. And all these miracles, which you've seen on the computer,
yes.
And it leaves a track and location points and all sorts of wonderful things. Sometime later he goes over to Egypt, and I gave him a note, and I drew the GPS and an on button. I said, take your finger and press that, and if that won't work, give it to an Aboriginal, an Arab kid, and he'll get it working for him. And he goes to Mount Sinai. And he leaves the GPS in the room on Mount Sinai. And he's going right up Mount Sinai on a camel. And he goes to Mount Sinai, and in St. Catherine's Monastery, they've got the burning bush of Moses. Like, Moses didn't exist. So we're on the fringe of insanity right there. But it is an area where Muhammad's letter is. And in Muhammad's letter, he's saying that all Christians are his people, and then they can freely intermarry, and that the Muslims will fight for the Christians, they will rebuild their churches, they'll respect their churches and their laws, and they will not forbid the Christian women or the Christian men from, if they marry a Muslim that is, from attending churches and so forth. So he was very benevolent towards the Christians. There's a letter that is written and signed by 33 witnesses in St. Catherine's. That's one good thing about St. Catherine's. So when he comes back, I said, give me the GPS. Did you use it? No, didn't know how to switch it on. Oh, okay. I put it into the computer, and of course the thing switched itself on again. And it's got all sorts of wonderful things all over. Wherever he went to Israel, he went to Alexandria, went up to Sinai, and all over the place. And this thing had switched itself on and given me a whole host of numbers and tracking, and because that's what this thing does. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. Right. So they spent their night in the Great Pyramid, in the tomb, whether they bribed the guards or they hid or whatever. And him and his wife spent. Now, from that experience, he became the reincarnate of Ramses III or something. And his wife, she doesn't want to miss out, so she's Ramses too. Right? So here they are, two pharaohs now. Now he's also the reincarnated Socrates, Aristotle. Who else?
Oh.
There's 12 of them anyhow. Right? And when I show him miracles on this, just on the GPS stuff. And he'd be sitting beside the computer and I said, look at this, look at that, blah, blah, blah. And I'd turn around and he'd have his hand stuck up in there like this, yabbling on in bullshit Hebrew. Now I understand Hebrew very, very well. And not one word of it does he understand, so I didn't tell him I didn't understand it. So he's yabbling on in Hebrew, praying to his God Lucifer. God is Lucifer. And that he has taken on the mind of Christ. Now apparently, I don't know nothing about this bullshit, but apparently there's a lot of people believe you take on the mind of Christ. Right now, it's like me taking on Asher's mind, right? Or you taking on Asher's mind. It can't be done. You can have empathy of what you say, but you certainly can't become that person and take their mind.
These are the doctrines of Paul, the devil.
Right. So I put up with him because he's such an amusing character. In fact, if he's not talking about the bullshit, he's a clever man.
Yeah, and he's funny. He's
Now,
fun to be around.
How does it all come about? He's from New Zealand. That's a mark against you right there. New Zealand is a sort of a host. It's a pedophile ring posing as a nation. Give you some idea. They're insane. Right? So he comes from New Zealand. He comes from Christchurch. And he's born 13 feet from the ocean, according to his grandfather or his mother. His grandfather stood up in front of the children. He had 12 children. This is at the evening meal. And he stood up in front of all the children, got their attention, and took a razor out and cut his throat. Now, Grant's brothers are all nuts, right, in their own way. His father came over from New Zealand and just disappeared off the face of the earth. No one's heard from him since. He's vanished. So we got the grandfather cut his throat. We got Grant's father just disappeared off the face of the earth. Grant was told by God to go over to Watsonia, where I was living. That's the next suburb of Greensboro. And he was 222 metres away from me. And he had this urge to come and see me, and there's a lady from Michigan City in the States asked the inevitable question, because she knew me. She said, do you know that Christ is back? Well, he didn't. And then she said, he lives, and she had the address. She said, oh, that's just near me. So he comes over one day and knocks on the door, and he opens the door, and the light was behind him, a great big full beard. He looked very angelic. And of course, when he came in, we got talking because I realised this man is a snake. But an interesting fellow. No doubt about that. Very, very good orator. If he wasn't mad and he could speak the truth, if he was representing me, great, go for it, because he's very, very convincing, right, the way he talks. But he believes that he is Lucifer, because he's taken on the mind of Christ, and Christ is Lucifer. Lucifer is Christ. That's what the Pope believes, this stupid Francis arsehole. Well, he believes it. Right? So we've got a bit of competition going here. It's either Francis or Grant. Right? Both mad. That's the whole point. Yet I like the guy. And I tried my very best to just show them clear logic and say, look, this is what the Bible's all about, and this is all the history, and this is how it all fits together, and this is my genetics, and look at the stars, and I'll show you that, to make one hill of beans of difference. So that's why I say to you, don't even try to convince people, because they're either in or they're out. They've either got the mark on the forehead or they haven't. As simple as that.
And the mark on the forehead, the seal, is the name. Yahweh Jesus Brian.
If you haven't got my name on your forehead, that's it.
Yeah, and of course
And
that occupies you.
like this little lady that's, what is she, a Sudanese?
Somalian.
Somalian. She recognised straight up, no problem. Muslim. They know Muhammad was right in lots of ways, but they don't go along with this bullshit that the Jews have written it in, because they controlled, by the Catholic Church, the writings of the Quran. And I mentioned before that in Afghanistan, the CIA has rewritten the Quran with the jihadists in it. And they sprinkle them all over the war-torn areas, and that's one of the reasons why they're there, because of heroin. But they did all that. And the idea was to people growing up would find in the dust a Quran, where someone got blown up. Well, the CIA put it there. Well, there's millions of these books were scattered all over the place, dropped out of planes or whatever during the night, and people pick them up. The Quran comes down from heaven. So they become jihadists. So it's Americans again, CIA. What is it, 50% of the FBI, CIA, etc.?
Pedophiles.
Pedophiles.
All
So that's
Talmud.
why
It's
Trump...
all Talmud.
It's all Talmud. That's why Trump's representative talking to the press had the flag of America upside down, because it means we're in distress, we're in big trouble.
Now, Cheryl, you left another comment after watching the re-upload of President Putin's 2016 Christmas message, as he was talking about. And you say, heartbreaking, everything I thought was the truth has fallen away. I was brought up Methodist and confirmed after going to classes by Dr. Piers Reverend Ziegler and children's pastor, and you continue to name it, I can't say. But yes, President Putin, again, you have in America, you have been so lied to continually for years. I recognise that when I was living over there. I spent the first 12 months before moving into the USA, where I spent 5 years there. But I realised that the news that the Canadians were hearing were all right, insulated. But once I got down to the USA, the media, the news that you were hearing, if it was not happening in your own dinky little backyard, in your own little counties, then you were not finding out about anything that was happening around the world. And so you're very insulated from the truth.
I found the same thing.
Yeah.
I travelled through America, I worked in America, been there many times, and got a bit of stupid as people all the time.
And again, it's because you're not told the truth. So...
well, you bring out the flag and next thing you've got tears in their eyes, right? Are you insane?
And Marion, you left a brilliant comment. I can't read it all, but well, because I can't expand it because this is not opening. It's our slow internet tonight. You say, who would deny our Lord Yahweh, Jesus, BLDM, and our Queen of Heaven, Mother Asher? Now, I just want to make sure, you know, it's Queen of Heaven because we're on the north side of the galaxy now. We're heading back. The solar system is moving very fast, 69,000 kilometres per hour.
That's why your weather is acting strange.
And we are being pulled north.
Go to your sink and fill it up with water and put an old DVD or CD in there and put a bit of paper or something over it and fill it with water. Then, once the water's all settled down, get a big knife, poke it down, just pull a bit of paper away slowly, and you see which way the water starts to turn as it's draining out the sink. Now, if you are aware that in America it used to go clockwise, now it goes anti-clockwise. In Australia, it now goes clockwise, it used to be anti-clockwise. That means there's a Coriolis effect that's caused by the rotation of the galaxy, and we've gone up through the centre line of the Milky Way galaxy's equatorial line, imagine the equator, we've gone, and now we're on the north side. Now that we're on the north side, all your weather goes backwards. All your satellite clouds, you can see them, they go backwards. And that's why your weather is so changed all throughout the world. Right? It's just settling down to a new paradigm of existence in the clouds and the formation caused by the movement of the Earth northward at 69,000 kilometres per hour, or 43,200 miles per hour, roughly. And the sun drags all the planets behind them because the sun's going like that. And so the planets are being pulled behind them. And if it didn't, all the planets would be sucked into the sun. Without movement like that, you don't have your weather, you don't have seasons, and you certainly don't have life because you wouldn't last more than a week. The sun would pull the earth into it and burn it up.
Now, Anna Bat Ashra, Anna, you've left comments. Could you please once measure from Egypt the Wadi El Natron, that's the Natron Valley. Now remember when we were there, we were told sodium bicarbonate of soda in, yes, the Natron Valley, because in this valley the ancients got their sodium bicarbonate from. So I'll remind him tomorrow, Adam, we'll go over and have a look at that. And then of course you're leaving links, your brilliant work, Irish Origin of Civilization.com, and an excerpt from Conor McDarry, The Bible, an Irish book. Our Aryan forefathers brought the idea of the creative or world tree with them from Aya to the different countries. So, yes, you're...
Right.
Yes.
Now, look, if you really want to see what's going on, forget the Bible, and then you come back to it after you study the chronicles of ancient Ireland.
Yes.
Now, if you was in Ireland today and you talk to people about what happened in 500, 600, 700, 800 BC, I'll tell you, it's all written down. No problem. I'll tell you about Jeremiah coming there and bringing the two daughters of the King Zedekiah that had been a Babylonian king against Babylon, had got the shits with Zedekiah, and he had put him in power as king of Judah, and Nebuchadnezzar. Then he came over and said, right now, that's it. So he surrounded the city, and the Egyptian army was coming over, so he cut them off in the Sinai, and they was going to help to fight against, because they didn't like the Babylonians either. And that was the end of that. So once he captured it, he took his 4 sons and he killed his 4 sons before his eyes. They were little boys, only 4 or 5 years old. And then he took Zedekiah to Babylon and blinded him and put him in a dungeon. That's the kind of thing that does. That'll shut you up. So
now what was
Zedekiah? Will you stop interrupting?
Sorry.
Zedekiah had put Jeremiah in the dungeon to die. That's what an arsehole he was. And it was Nebuchadnezzar that saved Jeremiah out of the dungeon. So 3 years later they laid low, and then Nebuchadnezzar and his army had settled down, and they'd gone, none more king. That was the end of the royal line. So then Jeremiah took the 2 girls, and it's called the Laphael. And he took the Rock of the Scone, it's another name for the sacred Rock of Jacob. That goes back to Genesis 28:11. Right? And the word certain, hello, you know. But, so that was the start of it. And so the girls were taken to Tara in Ireland. And at that time, was some 1400 BC that the line of Judah had broken between the 2 sons of Jacob and Judah, sorry. And this is where it all came together to wait for the total demise and the infiltration of the Sodomites and so forth back into Jerusalem area, and that was then when it all started to fit together. And that's why when we were on the earth, I had to have an offspring. Right? Otherwise, we are descended from Jesus.
We are.
Right? And Martha.
We are our own parents, if you like.
There's a song about that. I'm my own grandpa. Yeah, so we wouldn't be here talking to you genetically if it wasn't for what we had to do, and that's where Mary Magdalene came in, because she was my first wife. But in the Essene tradition, you had 3 years. At the end of the 3 years, if you hadn't produced a child, then that was it. You move on to the next sister. Right? So the only reason we didn't produce a child was because she was so damn ugly. Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
That's the woman taken in adultery, was it? Why would they bring a woman to me, some half-crazed Messiah figure, if it wasn't my own wife that I was going to have to condemn under the bullshit laws of Moses, that if a woman is taken in adultery, to be stoned to death? A man can go out and shag a pig, doesn't matter. Matter of fact, that's Mary Magdalene was very quite like it. She's had 7 devils driven out. That means she's here for the last time. And she ain't going to make it. I know her intimately. I was with her for 13.13 years, and she will not make it. She's got another decent bone in her. So she's exactly the same as she was back in the time where she accused her sister of adultery to get her killed. That's the kind of person she was, and that she is today. One nasty person. Had to be, however, her children marry into my children's through 1 Chronicles 5:13, which is probably the most important Old Testament book, or rather verse. In it are all the numbers that are the ages differences between my children and her children, hers and herself, and myself, and my first wife. Anyone listening?
All right, let's move on. That's and Martin Lensling, he says, agree.
I feel like getting into the lotus position at the moment.
Agree, Earth consider it as an embryo, etc. With that, it's getting late. It's approaching the hour where we say good night. So with that...
Good night, Miss Good Night.
Asta?
James Bond.
What's that?
Good night, Miss Good Night.
Right. I'll say later, Gators, as Yah says.
Good night, Miss Good Night.
Asta.
La vista, baby.